God Pro Play.
Hey everybody, this is Diablo Play. So I wanted to make this video. This is going to be the fun video, or at least the video I think is going to be probably the most useful for most people. And it's also something I haven't really seen anybody talk about, like really at all. And I think it's extremely important because, quite honestly, I don't think a lot of people really understand everything that they should be looking for. I mean, I think people have a general idea, like, okay, like obviously high runes, obviously, certain items like griffins and a two-socketed crown of ages, like those are going to go for a lot. But what what items really have value, and what items are good, and what items are good when? So I made a little Excel document here, and this is my list of items. There might be some things I'm missing on here, but I feel like this is at least 95% complete, if not like 95 to like probably like 98% what you should be looking for, at least what I think people should be looking for, and what I personally look for. I also have a list of kind of just why you should look for certain items. Okay. So first up, we have your bases, your white items. Then you have your gray items. So there's a little bit of a difference between whites and grays. And the way I have this set up is like this is what you see when the item hits the ground. This is what you see when the item hits the ground. Blue, yellow, unique, set, right? So first off, with your whites and your grays, these are going to be typically fairly similar. I have color codes, so green, just pick up all game long. Saying pick up all game long is different to whether or not you should keep the item for trade value, right? It doesn't mean it's going to, always be something good necessarily. Yellow I have as not useful often. And kind of what I mean by that is a lot of these items are maybe not preferred, or the way that they roll with stats and things for them to be really good or GG is gonna be pretty rare. So there's that. Falls off fast is what I mean by that is their typical value just degrades really quickly from the start of the season to the end of the season. So it's just like, your blue amulets at the beginning of the season, yeah, they could be useful, but as the season goes on, you're not looking for blue amulets, or like an Immortal King armor, like, okay, like that might be useful for a barbarian at the beginning of the game, but um, I mean, most people go for Enigma, right? Gwaelim's head, somebody might want that early game for like an Uber Smiter, but I mean, let's face it, it's not very rare, and it's not like the best thing you could use. So that's why I have those like that. And then orange is going to be ethereal or not ethereal, but typically you prefer this item to be ethereal. You can still pick it up. It could still be good in a lot of cases, but most of the time it's way better and probably going to be more valuable if it's ethereal. Gray means it pretty much has to be ethereal before you pick it up. There's really no reason to not pick this item up non-ethereal, unless like it's extremely early game and you're like trying to make like for instance like a cryptic axe early game that you need for your mercenary that you need for your mercenary. If you found one that wasn't ethereal, you could put that on your mercenary as an insight, but you're gonna ones that will actually hold value are gonna be the ones that are actually ethereal. And then crafting type things, like what items are you looking for crafting? Some of these with the crafting, like these Volges and stuff, I could probably put under their crafting as well with socketing weapons, but since they kind of need to be ethereal, I think it's more important to put them as ethereal. Anyway, so let's start. We have your claws, right? So we have Quab through Scissors Sawaya, right? So Quab, Greater Claws, Greater Towns, Scissors Quab, Sawaya, Wrist Sword, Feral Claws, Runic Towns, Scissors Sawaya. Now, when it comes to White Claw, the main one people are looking for is the Sawaya. I feel like if you found one that was a Runic Talons or a Greater Talons, because those are kind of the two other sought after ones, maybe not for a white base, but I think people would like them enough that if you found a really good one, they'd be okay with it. And then these other ones that I chose here are claws that can get 3 sockets, right? So if you pick one of these up and you were to socket it with Larzuk, it would give you 3 sockets, so you could make a Chaos Claw out of it. But, they're not as highly sought after, so their value is less. But if you did find it with the right skills, you're going to be good. So, let's go down here into here, your claws. These ones, they can get 3 sockets for making Chaos Claw. Generally, all of these are going to be worthless unless you roll 3 to Lightning Sentry. There might be other build paths for assassins using a Chaos Claw that don't go Lightning Sentry, but this is kind of the general rule of thumb here. And then other mods that are good to get on there would be Mind Blast and WB. I don't play Assassins. I think that stands for Weapon Block. I could be wrong. So don't quote me on that. But I really don't play Assassins. For more information, visit https some D2JSP link I have here. But quite honestly, just look up what mods do I want on class, and then there should be a D2JSP topic for that. Okay, anyway. And then for other whites, I have Grand Matral Bow, Matriarchal Bow, same here. Really what you're looking for on there, you're looking for +3 to bow and crossbow skills. And then hopefully if it's gray, you also get it with 4 sockets. Now, if you go to Larzuk and you try to use, your quest on the Grand Matron Bow, it'll put 5 sockets in it, so don't do that. You're going to have to use the cube recipe for it, so just keep that in mind. Wands. Actually, I found this kind of interesting. You want to pick up pretty much almost every single wand you find on the ground that's a white or a gray. If it's gray and it has a socket, it has to be 2 sockets. But these are the ones that you're looking for. Now, important thing to note, if you find a wand, you want to have +3 Bone Spear, +3 Bone Spirit. I think if you found one with +3 Bone Spear, you might get a buyer for it. Probably, especially early. If it's not 2-socketed already, make sure that the wand is not a wand, a U-wand, or a burnt wand. Those are the 3 that you don't pick up. So literally put it in your brain like, oh, I don't pick up wands, U-wands, burnt wands, right? Because they cannot have 2 sockets. So keep that in mind. War Scepter, Divine Scepter, Caduceus. These you always want to pick up as well because they can be great for a foe paladin, right? +3 to conviction, +3 to foe. This is an extremely valuable thing to have, right? And you want 5 sockets on those. Larzuk, if you find that and you get 5 sockets, this is an extraordinarily valuable item. Okay, just keep that in mind. Diadems. When I say for Charcy, anytime I say for Charcy, I mean Imbu. A lot of people like to pick up white diadems and imbue them with Charcy because you can get really great mods on a diadem. I think it's because the base of a diadem will always be 90, which means the eye level will always be 90, even if you imbue it on like a level 1 character, for instance. And when you do that, it allows you to roll +2 skills with 20 faster cast rate. So that's why you would want to do a diadem. Monarch shields, I think that's pretty obvious. You know, Spirit Monarch. Sacred Targes, Sacred Rondages, Kira shields, and Zachram shields. Actually, I think this should be green. Why don't I have those green? Green. And honestly, I think this should be yellow. Yeah. Why? Because Sacred Targes have the highest block chance out of the elite paladin shields. And you're looking for 40 plus resistance on these. I think with the Sacred Targe, you can also look for the highest mod for enhanced damage and attack rating, because that could be useful. This would be for a Paladin Spirit, or it could be for like a Phoenix, right? And the Sacred Targe Phoenix would be really good. And before I go any further, I want to make sure of something. Don't mind me. Yep. Okay, so Phoenix. Right. And then Superior Dust Shroud. I put Superior Dust Shroud in here because really just picking up a regular Dust Shroud, like whatever. I think Dust Shrouds drop enough. Granted, if you do pick up a Dust Shroud that isn't Superior, I like to go to a certain website and hopefully it loads. If you don't use the Ariat Summit, I definitely recommend it. This is kind of where I get a lot of my information. You know, just go into Google, type in Ariat Summit, and this has a ton of information on Diablo 2. So if we go here and I go to Elite Armor, right? Scroll down. Find Dust Shroud. Like, let's say you found a Dust Shroud. Like, these range from 361 to 467 defense. Armors always have a range, right? If you find one that has like maybe 440 or above, you know, you could maybe try to use the cube recipe, socket it, hope for 3 sockets. I think that would be a fine Enigma base or a wealth base, that kind of a thing. But aside from that, like, even a 467 one, I don't think people are going to be like super crazy about. I guess 467 people might be if you got it 3 socketed, because it's pretty rare for a Superior Dust Shroud to drop with 3 sockets, so keep that in mind. Arcan Plate, because Arcan Plates are the best. And then you could also use that for crafting. And kind of the same lines, you know, go to Ariat Summit, see the defense you might want on that. So most of this is the same, so just kind of the same down through here. Here's where it changes. Ethereal and non-ethereal Berserker Axe. If it's not ethereal, and unlike armors, weapons don't change their damage ratios. Like, you can't spawn with, like, if an axe has a set like low amount and a set high amount, the set low amount doesn't change and the set high amount doesn't change based on the weapon. All right, keep that in mind. So Berserker Axe, you know, ethereal, non-ethereal. The best one you could possibly find would be a 15% enhanced damage ethereal, uh, 5-socketed Berserker Axe. So that's for an E Death C. The next one, that's probably the next best, would be 15% ED F 6-socketed. But I mean, if you just found a regular base, you could use Larsec for that. So whatever. Also, a thing to keep in mind: you cannot cube recipe superior items. So it's a big deal. All right, Sacred Charges down to Vortex Shields, pretty much the same basis, except for this one. They are better if they're ethereal with the 40 plus resistance on them for an exile. Superior Mage Plate. I don't really care for them, but somebody might, and if it's 3-socketed, cool. Dust Shroud, Arcan Plate, Ethereal Arcan Plate can be useful for, you know, an Ethereal Fortitude for your Mercenary, if you don't want to use it for a Sacred Armor. A lot of people like it that way. War Axe for Charcy, Naga for Charcy. I like to use these for Charcy for my Imbu quests when they're ethereal. You could also use a Berserker Axe for it, but this is my preference, and that's because that's for the Fools mod, right? I'll get into that in a little bit. Crystal Sword for a CTA. If you want it, right? So, hold on, I gotta do something at the same time as I do this, because I have a fantasy football draft I gotta do. Oh, wrong password. Looks good. Sorry, just give me a moment. Just want to make sure I'm able to do this at the same time. Okay. So I'll get into that. I say CTA for CTA in case you want to use it. That's fine, but I wouldn't pick this up. I wouldn't even try to trade it regardless. Like, if, yeah, whatever. These are ethereal, Colossus Volge through Cryptic, or through Mancatcher, Warpike. So Warpike and Mancatcher are spears, obviously, but they are the best for Infinity. I guess the best one for Infinity is Mancatcher, so an ethereal Mancatcher, 4-socketed. So keep that in mind. Enter live draft. Here we go. Fantasy football. Okay, cool. But make sure you don't put your insights in here. But you can trade these. People will want them, right? And then Ethereal Warpike is really good for like Ethereal Breath of the Dying kind of a thing. So, and then a Monarch Shield. If it's grayed out, pick it up all game because it's 4-socket. You could trade it. Superior Wormhide, Superior Scarab Husk, Superior Wire Fleece. Again, looking for 3 sockets on them. Maybe 4 sockets. Maybe somebody would want to use that for a Chains of Honor, but really you're looking for this to have 3 sockets as well. Great Hauberk through Shadow Plate. You want these to be ethereal for a base for your mercenary, for your mercenary armor, and you want them to have a pretty high defense. So if I go into here, I go for armors. An ethereal Arcan Plate can reach up to 750 plus defense. With that as the staple, I believe that any armor below 750 defense will not be viable for a base such as Fortitude. Now, you could probably use them as bases for like a stone, an ethereal stone, but I think you should at least still probably have above 600 defense on something like that. Oh, shit. Sorry, that was loud. I wonder if I can turn down the volume on that. Yeah, that's just annoying. Hold on. Volume mixer. Turn that all the way down. Cool. The best one to get would probably be a Sacred Armor, 15% ED, ethereal, just so you're aware. Right, so going on to the next portion, we have charms, jewels. I mean, pick those up. Pick up greater talons and runic talons. And what you're looking on these, you want 40 increased attack speed, plus 3 to traps, plus 3 to lightning sentry, right? And then you'd roll it with Larzuk to get 2 OS. Now the chances of that happening is 50% chance to roll 2 sockets. If you get that though, on one of these, a greater talon or a runic talon, that's going to be worth a hell of a lot. Okay, so keep that in mind. Also, speaking of which, if you find a 15% ED Ethereal Berserker Axe or a 50% ED Sacred Armor Ethereal, or you find a 15% ED 3-socketed Arcan Plate, those are going to be worth a hell of a lot. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Right, so then we have Matriarchal Javelins and Ceremonial Javelins. Now, I think there is a thing where people want, and don't quote me on this exactly, but 40 increased attack speed plus skill, Matriarchal Javelins can get a good price. I don't know if you can have this ethereal or not. I don't really use the Javazon a whole lot, but I believe that this is extremely expensive if you find one. But I definitely look around for pricing on something like that. Glaives with plus 3 to bow are really good for a barbarian as well. But I typically don't pick these up because I don't know. I don't think they're really worth a whole lot, and I think it's a waste of inventory space to pick them up. Amulets. All right, so it's my turn. All right, cool. I get. Oh, nice. I get Dalvin Cook. Look at that. Amulets plus 3 skill amulets are really good early, but they fall off. So let's go to circlets, tiaras, diadems, that kind of a thing for blues. Since it's on the list here. Anything with 20 faster cast rate and plus 2 skills will probably go for a decent amount. And if you Larzuk it and get 2 sockets, pretty good price, honestly. I mean, you can get some pretty good stuff. So, pretty useful. You get 2 sockets on that. There's some jewels out there that are just freaking crazy, and that'll be good enough for a lot of people. A lot of people like the 30 faster run walk plus 2 Dazan circlets, or like the 3 open socket type crap. But if you're interested, there is another D2 JSP post about this sort of thing. You know, just type in what blue circlets should I look for, go find a D2 JSP post about it, right? If I can, I'll try to upload this to the video as well. Now, rings. I do pick up a lot of blue rings. I don't pick up all of them because, you know, it kind of gets repetitive. They drop a lot. But if you find a ring and it has over 30 plus magic find, that's actually more magic find than you'll find on a Nagel ring. And so honestly, a blue ring can have more magic find than a Nagel ring, believe it or not. So Druid pelts. Okay, so plus 3 to elemental skills, plus 3 to tornado, right? And then it can also spawn with other mods on it, like the health mana mod. And then you can also socket it with Larzuk, and if you get 2 sockets on it, like, that is a really, really good NATO pelt. That's worth a hell of a lot, and is actually worth more than most 5 NATO rare pelts, because the 2 open sockets make it crazier than, you know, 1 open socket rare pelt, and it's 6 to NATO. Health and mana mods are also very, very nice. So yeah, that's actually a huge find. Armor. Okay, so this is where it gets cool. So Dust Shroud, Archon Plate, and Sacred Armor is what I'll say to pick up for these. What you can find on this is 4 socketed with 100 life. That's the max that you can get. Jeweler's Armor of the Whale. Almost any elite armor with this will be highly sought after. Now, for pieces like a Dust Shroud, an Archiplate, and Sacred Armor, this will fetch a very, very, very nice price. This is a really rare find, okay? And a lot of people want this kind of item for their specific builds, so just keep that in mind. Should I take Alvin Kamara? If I could have, well, this is interesting, right? Sorry, should I do Saquon Barkley or Alvin Kamara? I feel like Saquon has not been putting up the numbers he should be. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that either. Okay. I don't look into this as much as I should. I'm sure most. Well, I don't know how much of you are into football, but I do like the football. So let's go down again. I have Monarch Shield on here for a blue. Similar kind of thing to the armor, but this is actually even way more expensive than, well, I should say way more expensive, but it's, you find one of these, you're freaking rich, man, right? Okay, now it's my turn. I kind of just want to take Alvin Kamara because he'll probably get ran to death, right? He's also an amazing running back. I'll just take Saquon Barkley. He has more fan points, right? Oh, that was last year. Yeah, I'll take Saquon. Okay, cool. Now, with one of these shields, so four socketed and 20% increased blocking, 30% faster block rate. This is called the Jeweler's Monarch of Deflection. Really, really highly sought after. Well, I shouldn't say really highly sought after because the people that can buy it are just going to be filthy rich in this game, so which isn't going to be everybody. But if you do find one of these, I mean, you just got rich, right? A J mob is still good, but the blocking is less and therefore not remotely as expensive. But still, if you find one, people are going to want it. There's also a J mock. That's what I call it, with 60 life and 4 OS. That would be the most you can get. So I think that would be fine. And I believe this also applies to Paladin shields. So do not be afraid to pick up Elite Paladin blues. So I imagine you could find something like a 4-socketed 45 all resistance, 20% increased blocking, 30% faster block rate, 4-socketed Elite Paladin shield, and that would be put on a faux Paladin. You could socket it with 4 -20 light faucets, and that would be worth a fuckload. Now, I've never seen one, but I think according to Ariat Summit, this can happen. So, yeah. That's about all I know for blue items. Blue items are the tricky ones, in my opinion, to kind of like know what to grab. Rares, grab all rare jewels. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't finish. Vortex shield. Okay, so Wires Charms, Grand Charms, it's obvious. Shark Skin Gloves, Vampire Blood Gloves, that's for the crafting mod for crafting items. So, to make your Crushing Blow gloves. Rares. Right, so pick up all jewels. I pick up all one-handed weapons. Okay, and two-handed swords will fall into that same category here. Okay, all claws and all javelins are in the same category here. Now with claws and javelins, you can obviously get the extra mods from the classes, but let me just go into weapons right now. So this applies to like all weapons, right? So any weapon with these mods is going to be freaking godly, right? Um, regardless what anyone says, any item that's a rare item with this is going to be good. Now, the first thing you really want to look for is that they're whether or not they're ethereal. These are going to be way better if they're ethereal, obviously. But you know, things happen. So, what do you want? So anything that is ethereal, 40 IAS. Granted, I think you could get away with not having the IAS on this, but it should have 40 AIS if you want like the most G of the G. It needs to have the cruel mod, so that's 200 to 300% enhanced damage. Fools modded, or masters, but really you want the fools mod, right? And the Fool's Bond gives you max damage per level and attack rating per level. Masters is 150 like up 100 to 150% ED, I believe, and then it's definitely up to 150% ED, and then it also gives you attack rating. So the Masters mod with the Cruel mod, you could get 450% ED on a weapon. You would want it to roll 2 OS. You would want the Repair Durability mod and percent cast amp damage. Granted, if you don't get the percent cast amp damage mod, it might be better in some circumstances, because some people, because this is going to be for dueling, right? Most of the time, or just to have as a trophy, but the cast amp damage could be sought as cheating for duels in some higher end dueling categories, but I mean, I think if you find a weapon like this that has percent cast amp damage, it should be viable for something like that. It's like, how the hell did you even find that thing? You know what I mean? I think if you find that, it's just fucking ridiculous. Okay, pardon my French. So yeah, what items do you pick up? So I say two-handed swords here, uh, because a barbarian can dual wield two-handed swords. So Colossus sword, Colossus blade can be really good here. Also, why do I say all one-handed weapons? Why do I say all two-handed swords? Like, why all of them? And the reason is because you can upgrade um, rare items to their elite forms. So it doesn't matter if you pick up an Ethereal War Axe that has these mods. You can upgrade it to a Berserker Axe, right? Fuck yeah. Okay. Um, Now, like pole arms and spears, yes, it's still going to be freaking awesome with these mods, but they're definitely not as sought after. Like, I don't even know who would use it. Maybe in Amazon, like a two-handed spear. I don't know. Um, Maybe a charge paladin, but I mean, I think those are pretty few far between, quite honestly. But if you do find one, it's still going to be worth a shitload, right? So, but the only way I would probably pick one up is if it was actually ethereal, right? So you pick it up, you look at your inventory, is it ethereal? No, toss it out of your inventory. That's the way I would look at it. And I don't think it's necessary to pick them all up, as far as pole arms and spears go. Now, claws and javelins, these can also spawn with like traps. If you find a claw that has all these mods and it has like +3 to traps and mind blast or whatever, like that's fucking insane, right? Uh, so you'll be the richest E2 player in the world if you find that. What else? Oh, right, phase blades. So phase blades, when they drop, you might know this already, but they can't drop ethereal, but they are indestructible naturally. So if you find a crystal sword or a dimensional blade that is ethereal, and then you get these mods, and then you upgrade it to a phase blade, the phase blade will be ethereal. So it won't, uh, well, it won't break. So you don't need the repair durability mod on it. Okay, I need to pick a wide receiver. AJ Brown fan points. Hold on. All players, wide receivers. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen fan points are super high on some of these. What did he do last year, huh? He had 1,200 last year. AJ Brown. Yeah, we'll go with AJ Brown. Okay. Pelts, Druid pelts. 5 native pelts, worth a hell of a lot. Okay. They're not going to be insanely expensive, but they're going to be expensive. So, keep your eye out for a rare Druid pelt. It'll be worth a lot. I mean, some of them would be worth more than, well, I don't know. It just depends. They're usually pretty expensive though. Rings. Okay, finally we're at rings. This is actually pretty cool. Uh, they can usually be really godly. Well, I shouldn't say usually really godly. What I'm saying is they can be really godly as rare items, better than their crafted counterparts. At least from what I've seen and what I've kind of researched here. Uh, so typically, the sought after stats: 10 faster cast rate, all resist. The max is 11. Mana is sought after. Max is 90 or more resistances like fire, which you can get 40% on rings. Now, fire resistance on rings can be 10% higher than cold, lightning, or poison resist. So the highest you can get of cold, lightning, or poison resist is actually 30% on a ring. Attack rating up to 120. Or you can get more resistance on it. Lightning, cold would be preferred. Poison is still fine. Some people, might not consider that as a resistance, but it is. Then you have strength. Max is 20 for a ring. And then dexterity or energy, max being 15. Or you could go for life with 40 max. I think the life would probably be the better bet here. Dexterity's fine, but if you're really trying to go for max block, dexterity would be really good. Poison length reduction by 25%. I think that's a fine mod to have. Lifesteal 9%. I think some people would really look for the lifesteal. And then life replenish 10. I think life replenish 10 would be really good as well. I think anything dealing with life, the life rep will be pretty good. People probably look at Dex as pretty good. Yeah, these are all pretty good 6, like as the 6 mod you could have. So, an example of a perfect GG ring would be 10 faster cast rate, 11 cold resistance, 11 poison resistance, 51 fire resistance, 41 lightning resistance, 20 strength, and 40 life. And yes, a ring can get all of those mods. Another great example, which would be for like an energy sorceress, would be 10 FCR, 11 cold resistance, light and poison resistance, 51 fire resistance, 90 to mana, 20 to strength, and 15 to energy. Okay, so keep that in mind. These are kind of, what you're looking for. Like, use this as like a basis of like, okay, what kind of a ring would be really GG? Oh, this is really GG. You fucking find this thing? Yeah, just you're gonna get paid a hell of a lot. I mean, you could probably get real money off of that. Probably a lot of real money. I'm not even joking. Like, I don't know. I've seen people talk about rings not as good as that going for $1,000 before. So, at least I think I heard that somewhere. I forget where. Anyway, let's go down. Crafted rings. They can have only 4 prefixes. So remember that crafted items can only have not prefixes. I'm sorry, affixes total. They can have 4 affixes total between prefixes and suffixes. So they can additionally get 5 strength, 3 life steal, and 20 life. So, you could get 25 strength off of something, but yeah, whatever. Okay, so let's just take this guy because he had a lot of receiving yards and touchdowns last year. Um, Now let's go down to amulets. Typically, rare amulets aren't really going to be that great, and the crafted counterparts are always going to be better, aside from one thing, okay, which would be for a melee character. So uh, if you find one with +2 skills, all resistance max 20, another good resistance, and they can get up to 40. Strength 30, Dex 20, or you get even poison length reduction by 75, or life steal or life rep. I almost think like the poison length reduction by 75 would be amazing to have, but the dexterity would be freaking awesome too. And then life 60. You find this, that is actually absolutely amazing for like a PvP dual melee, melee versus melee, like Amazon, Paladin, Barbarian, even an Assassin might take one of these. Like that would be really, really good. Crafted amulets though are typically way better, and the mods you'd be looking for on this would be 20% faster cast rate. Now keep in mind, like a circlet or a diadem or whatever, in order for you to roll that plus skill with the faster cast rate, you're going to have that be an eye level 90 item. So keep that in mind with crafted amulets. If you want to ensure that every single time, either you get that item off of Diablo or Bale, or Nolaphic, I think, meaning an amulet, and then you go ahead and you do the recipe. I think you still have to be a certain level for it, and or hit level 95 and you could just gamble rings from a gambler, right? Or a gambling spot, and you gamble amulets from that guy. You can use those for crafting, and you'll always have that chance at level 95. But you can get 20 faster cast rate, +2 to skills, 20 all resist, and 30 strength on one of these. And this is the best you can get, right? Why does it look so small? It's because 10% faster cast rate is included in the craft. It's actually 5 to 10 from the craft, but this is perfect here, right? And then 10 from the amulet itself if it rolls it. Okay, so that's how you get that. Then your skill, then your resist, then your strength. So this would be a perfect, not 6-point, but perfect, 4-point ring here with a good roll on the craft. So keep that in mind. Belts. Honestly, belts are going to be pretty much absolutely useless. At least I think they are. Somebody might come along and be like, hey, dude, you're completely wrong about rare belts. I'm going to be like, okay, my bad. I didn't know. But as far as I've seen, what's the point? But if you were going to look for something, you're going to pretty much always have to have 24 faster hit recovery on it. Like, if it's not 24 faster hit recovery, you might as well just toss the damn thing. It can get up to 30 strength. That would be a lot of nice strength to have. 60 life or life replenish. 60 life's a good amount of life. Try resistance. And fire can be 40. The others can only be 30%. So, look for something like that, right? If you do look for a belt. But honestly, they're typically just going to be garbage. Anyway, gloves. So gloves are. Oh, I didn't do boots. So let's go to boots. Your perfect boots are going to be 30 faster on walk, 10 faster hit recovery. Try res with cold fire, lightning. Poison's still good, and you can get 40 resistance on each of them. And then dexterity with 9 is the max amount of dexterity you can have. So the dexterity mod doesn't really matter. If you find it with that, great. You just found it like a perfect item kind of a deal. But like. And unless you're going for max block, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But yeah, if you find these three, the 30 faster unlock, 10 FHR, and try resist with high try resist, that's going to be worth a lot. Gloves. Gloves are usually best when crafted. Um, but I'll also give the rare version. Amazon's going to get +2 to bow and crossbow or +2 to javelins on rare gloves. It can't get +3, so don't think you're going to get +3 on these gloves. Assassins can also get +2 to martial arts on a rare glove. The only other good prefixes will be resistances, so either +2 to skills and 2 instances of resistances, or you could just like not even think about the resistances and go for tri-res gloves, right? Suffixes, you're going to have your 20 IS, strength, and dex. So strength max is 15, dex max is 15. You could also get life steal or mana steal or life replenish. Let me switch to tight ends here. Oh, George Kittle's still on the board. I better get him. Then crafted gloves, what you're going to be looking for. So 10 crushing blow be your max. You can get 3 life, then 3 life steal, 20 life. So an example of a good glove like this would be 10 crushing blow with those other mods, 20 increased attack speed, 15 strength, 15 dex, and 45 resist, right? That would be a really, really fucking good glove. Pardon my language. I'm sorry if I'm F-bombing too much. I'm going to go back up to talk about charms later. Okay. So then we have circlets, tiaras, and diadems. So +2 skill, 20 faster cast rate, 2 OS, 30 faster run walk, all resistance max is 20, strength max is 30. This would be the ideal kind of circlet or diadem to find. If you find something like this, that's going to be worth a shitload. Most sought after is obviously going to be like a paladin circlet. Sorceress circlet, still sought after. It'd be really good for like a fireball sorceress or yeah, probably a fireball sorceress with this. I guess a cold sorceress as well. But yeah, this is these kinds of diadems and stuff are just ridiculously good. Oh yeah, druids really love this. Necromancers really love this. Um, yeah, yeah, it's just fucking crazy. And then that's it for the rares. Then I'll talk about charms now before getting to uniques and sets because that won't take that long. So charms and jewels. When you look for charms, so small charms, the most basic ones to look for are going to be your 20 life, 7 magic find, 5 all resist, 10 gold find, right? Now you can find dual modded, so you can get up to like 20 life, 5 all resist, 20 life, 17 mana. Like these are worth a lot. 20 life, 20 AR, 3 max damage. This is worth a ridiculous amount. Like these are worth a heck of a lot. 20 life and 11 to some resistance. That's like, come on, man. You also get 20 life, 36 attack rating. You know, maybe somebody will want the attack rating more than the max damage, but you know. Anyway, you can get 175 plus poison on a small charm. You can get 450 on it, but I think you have to use a charm from Baylor Diablo and then use the gem recipe to try and find it. So good luck with that. 7 magic find, 5 all resist, 7 magic find, you know, some kind of resistance on it. 5 FHR, kind of the same premise on these. 3 faster run walk. You know, if you find any of those extra mods like the resistance mod, the AR max damage mod, or the AR mod, this is going to be really good, right? And then probably finally like a 3 faster run walk with 175 poison damage for like a small charm. That's going to be worth a lot for like a Boazon, right? Large charms. Pick up your large charms. A lot of people don't pick up their large charms. Pick up your large charms. So 35 life, 48 AR, and 6 max damage. This actually has more attack rating and the same amount of max damage as 2 of these 2023 small charms. However, you know, you're losing 5 life, but honestly, I think for this type of a character, what type of character that would use this kind of a charm would probably want that more. than the small charm counterpart. So let's think about that before you're like, I never pick up large charms. And then these are all good as well. I don't want to say all of them just because I'm kind of, it's just a lot. Just make sure you pick them up. If it looks like it would be worth a lot or like it has a lot of mods on it, go to Area Summit, look up the mods, or come back to this page if I'm able to post that to you. I'll figure some way to get this to you guys, but yeah, just use this. Grand Charms, obviously you can get skillers on here. You get 15% all resist as well. The best ones are going to be your P-Combs, your Light GCs, your Elemental GCs, your Trap GCs, Javelin, Spear Skills, Poison and Bone. You can get up to 45 life on these. You can also get faster run walk, strength, faster hit recovery, dex, and poison damage on your skill charms. So I need a quarterback now. So who's available? Oh, Dak Prescott's available. Oh, Matthew Stafford is available? What? Well, I'm definitely taking Matthew Stafford if I can. Don't you take him. He's taking too long. Okay. Well, if I can't get him, I'll probably take Dak Prescott. Yeah. Or Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr. He's a great quarterback. Anyway, let's continue on. You can also find a 45 life, 76 AR, 10 max damage EC. These are pretty well sought after. Like I was saying with the large charms, like almost more sought after than the small charm counterparts. Yeah, this would be the best one you could find in this kind of category with the 76 attack rating, right? You can also find a 45 lifer with 132 attack rating, 45 lifer with 15 all resistance. This is really good, and a lot of people would probably want this, but the small charm counterparts are going to be better, and I don't know how often people would use something like that. I mean, fairly often if you don't have anything else, right? And then just kind of like these are still going to be worth a lot, right? It's just they're not going to be worth as much as maybe their small charm counterparts or their large charm counterparts. Well, maybe more than their large charm counterparts, but the main ones to look for are obviously your skillers and then this 45 life 76 AR 10 max or this 45 life 132 AR, right? Jewels, your blues, 15 IAS, 40 enhanced damage, 15 IAS, 15 max damage, 15 IAS, 100 attack rating, 15 IAS, 15 resist, right? 15 IAS, 30 to some resistance. Most people like this to be fire resistance. 9 strength, 15 to your resistance. 9 strength, 30 to a resistance, right? There's probably other combinations, that are good, but, these are probably the best ones that you can find for blues. Rares, the rare jewels are weird, right? So 9 strength, 9 dex, 10 all resist, 7 faster hit recovery. Really good. Okay, ridiculously good. Worth a hell of a lot if you find that. 10 all resist, 30 fire resist, 30 light resistance, 9 to strength. You find that, dude? Like, come on, right? Or you could even supplement out like FHR. So 10 all resist, 35 resist, 7 faster hit recovery, 9 to strength. Any combination of like those kinds of mods is going to be ridiculously good, right? If you have any questions on this, there is something you can look at. It's the Area Summit, like I was talking about earlier. Look at your jewel mods. Are you hitting all? Like, do you have a ridiculously looking jewel? Go look it up. That could be worth a ridiculous amount. And when I say ridiculous, I mean like thousands of forum gold, probably, right? Maybe. So, and then uniques and sets. This is my list of uniques that I like to pick up. Drackles, Grass, Gore Riders, Arachnid's Mesh. Okay, cool. Dwarf Star, it's not super useful often, you know, it's kind of whatever. Raven Frost, you can fight a good Raven Frost if somebody would want. Nagel Ring, usually they're not worth a whole lot, and you know, just kind of whatever. Ariet's Face, usually people want this ethereal. You might be able to get a buyer from one non-ethereal. Oculus, people like their Oculus. Astute Temper, if it's +3 skill, you might be able to get something out of it. If it's +20 to lightning or fire, though, you might be able to get a little bit more out of it too. Cerebus Bite +4 skill. You're also going to want to have high like attack rating on this and all that good jazz. I want to say 120% is the highest you can get on it. Oh, I think I missed Barb Helms, but I'll get back to that. I'll just do that now. Barb Helms for rare. Helms. Usually the Barbarian Helms are going to do best for rare Helms, but it's really difficult to beat out an Ariets, like I just talked about, or an Ethereal Ariets. If you do find an item like this, you'll be pretty rich. Ideally, you'll want like +2 to Barb skills with a rolled mod, +3 to some sort of important skill to a Barbarian. I don't really play the Barbarian a whole lot, but I do know that these can be really good. Visionary mod, 2-socketed, resistance, strength, and preferably ethereal with repair durability. Other good mods would be life and dexterity. Good luck finding something like that, though. That's about as rare as finding one of these like Fool's items I was talking about earlier. Okay, cool. Back down. Okay, so this video is going on for some time, I just realized. Wow. Okay, so I was at Cerebus, so Alma Negra. Actually, I don't know if the normal would, if anybody would want a normal version of the Alma Negra, but typically you want an ethereal. Herald of Zakaram, obviously. Viper Magi, you know, useful in certain circumstances. Same with Ormus Robes. Crown of Thieves typically want this ethereal. Vampire Gaze typically want this ethereal. There are some cases where somebody would want V Gaze non-ethereal. Shaco, Nightwing, Andy's Visage, obviously preferred ethereal. Crown of Ages. If you find one and it's 1-socketed, I'm sorry. If you find one that's 2-socketed, congratulations, right? And even then, I feel like people get gypped on the pricings of these. Like I had one with 15% damage reduction, and it was 2-socketed, but the resistance was like 21 to all resistance, and like people were giving me a really hard time about it. But it's like, you know how rare it is to find one of those? It's actually a lot rarer than you might think. Okay, Duriel Shell, Ethereal, Guardian Angel, Ethereal, Gladiator, Spin Ethereal. It is time to pick another running back. So Rashad Penny. Oh, perfect. You know, I'm not even checking to see if these guys can play at the same time, am I? Oh, perfect. I'm good. Nice. All right. Leviathan. You will want the Leviathan to be a high damage reduction Leviathan, obviously. Also, people really don't use the Leviathan very often, but they can be useful in certain circumstances. Extremely useful, actually. But it's typically for dueling. It would be like a Zeldin using it. And there's a lot of people who have better counterparts to those as well. All right, Scolders, Ethereal Scolders for your Mercenary. People like to use that. Shaft Stop, pretty much best of Ethereal. Titan's Revenge, obviously best of Ethereal. Thunderstrokes, you know, if you get the +4 on it and like high enhanced damage, this will be something somebody wants. Storm Shield, War Traveler, Sandstorm Treks, best of Ethereal for Dungos. Rune Master has to be ethereal, has to be 5-socketed to be really worth anything, quite honestly, which is unfortunate. Death Cleaver pretty much has to be ethereal as well. Granted, you might get a buyer for a non-ethereal one if it has a high enough enhanced damage on it, but I can't guarantee that somebody will want to buy one, even if it's like that. Widowmaker, um, not super sought after, but some people want it. Windforce is the more sought after Amazon kind of bow, or not, maybe not even an Amazon, but bow in general. Wizard Spike, definitely kind of one of those items that are so abundant and not, they're used a lot, but they're really easy to find. So you might be able to get uh, some currency from it, but yeah. Reaper's Toll Ethereal, Tomb Reaver Ethereal for the Mercenary. Death's Web, High Lords, Geeds, Wisp Projector, obviously Wisp Projector, uh, Griffin's Diadem, Dark Force Spawn, Facets, Stone of Jordan, Volcatho's Wedding Band, Mara's, and a Death's Fathom. Um, those are kind of self-explanatory at the end there. Tal Armor for sets, Tal Amulet for sets. They're pretty much useful all game. Pick them up, have trade value, right? And so these green ones, all green ones will have some sort of trade value if it's what it's supposed to be. At least for uniques, like it's pretty much guaranteed. Not pretty much guaranteed, but a lot of times people will want them anyway. Grishelm, weapon and shield. Really hard to find actually, but the practicality of them isn't super high. The Grizz weapon's probably the most expensive piece. The shield would probably be the next expensive, and then the helm the next. I definitely want to just give these away, but at the same time, you might not find a real buyer for them, so good luck trying to sell them if you find them, or hold on to them. I don't know, maybe use it for interesting faux paladin build. IK Armor, Gwalems, talked about that earlier. Trang Helm, Trang Belt. People love the Trang set, but these are the hardest ones to find, so use those. As far as runes and gems, I keep Hell to Zod. I do not keep anything below Hell rune unless like I have to use it for something like crafting or whatever. In that case, Ral for crafting, Nef for crafting, Soul for crafting. And then for gems, I always pick up these Flawless Amethyst, Flawless Rubies, and Flawless Skulls for crafting as well. And then on the side here, I have your cube recipes for upgrading, socketing, and all that good stuff. So there you are. If I do make another video, it's going to be on kind of the prices of items. So that would go pretty well in depth. I'd have to do a lot of research. Not like a ton of research. Like I could definitely name things off the top of my head, like what I would pay for them. But I'll try to do it in a way that's kind of a higher rune base rather than like a forum gold base, because forum gold currency kind of changes a lot. Like something that was worth 2,000 forum gold at the beginning of the season, towards the end of the season could be worth like 20, right? Like Tal Armor, for instance. So I'm not going to do it with forum gold bases. I'm going to do it with runes, and then I'll do like early ladder reset to like late ladder reset, and I'll try to add it into the same document. So I'll try to put all this together and have these documents available to you. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe. And if you didn't like the video for whatever reason, please give me a thumbs down. And if you have any questions or comments or anything that you could build, like help build off of this, because I want this to be kind of more of like a community type of thing, please give me your input so we can just make the best sheet available for everybody to use. All right, thank you, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.